Hello, everyone. Firstly, I thank this platform for bringing in such a very crucial topic to these educators and also to the concerned parents. When we talk about education, we mostly focus on what happens in the classrooms, in the school, in the campus. We think about the syllabi, the different syllabi. We think about the curriculum. We think about the lesson plans, and we also think about all the worksheets or the activities that happen in a classroom. However, being in the teaching field for more than 10 years across so many syllabi, ranging from CBSE, IGCSE, IB, one thing that I have understood is things that happen to a child before he comes to the classroom greatly depends on his learning attitude, the depth of which in which he's able to receive what he uh, sees or experiences in a classroom. So my name is Malavika Jayakumar, and I've been an educator for the past 10 years, as I've mentioned, mainly in Dubai. Right now, I am in Kerala teaching in one of the reputed schools in Kochi. So, coming back to the topic of today, which is how the home environment shapes the student behavior and learning, and why understanding that matters a lot in the classroom. A student is so when we see a student in front of us in the classroom, that 30 minutes is not what a student is. So most of the time, I have had personal experiences where um, I would happen to come across a profile, a social media profile of a parent, and how different the child is in that particular profile. They would be having videos and stories, and how the child is at home. So, as an educator, as educators, it is so important that we really understand uh, the children that are who are sitting in front of us. Before we actually try to teach them as such. So that is why I feel taking up this topic today is so important and so crucial. And most of the time, I feel we do overlook this particular aspect. So as I mentioned, home environment plays a very, very crucial role in shaping a student's academic progress. They could either soar very high, or even if a child who is so capable of grasping concepts could show a very astoundingly lower academic progress in the classroom. The child could look disinterested, the child could seemingly have no focus in the class. So again, before coming to how the home environment plays a crucial role in shaping students' academic achievements by providing the emotional support, the learning resources, and a stable atmosphere, um, let's look at how not having this affects the children in the classroom. I will share my personal experience. I think when I say this, many of the educators out there would be able to resonate to this. So I have a student in my classroom, very brilliant, very sound in terms of academic knowledge. I see his descriptive writing in literacy, beautifully written, a lot of vocabulary used. However, it's only when a very what do you say, a very assessment oriented task that comes in and then he sits to write, we see his true potential. Otherwise, the child is said to be a very said to be disruptive. I do not like to use this word, but I do take this word from what I have heard from the other um colleagues as well. So the child is said to be disruptive in the class, in fact, for all the lessons. So I happened to go into the class as a homeroom teacher last year. And this is something I observed, that every time a core topic or a concept is being taught, this child tend to enjoy having the attention to himself. And then I did observe the child for a few days. And it's after a few days that I did understand uh, this aspect where I just assumed that this child was just being naughty. But then it was this dire need for attention that was making him do this. The child is not aware of this. And neither are most of us. As in this 30 minutes, we would be more focused on delivering the concept that we have to maybe in that particular 30 minutes. So since I was the homeroom teacher, I did have some time to myself to have um, talks with these children. I used to sit down, we used to have circle time. And during a PE lesson, I did go to this particular child. We took a stroll around the campus and we talked about plenty of things. And in the conversation, there comes up this these things that he was mainly having in his mind, that he feels alone. He feels that nobody hears him out. And when I quizzed him further, what I understood is that the child feels alone at home as well. The child feels that there's no one to look at. If, let's say he does something very good, he has an achievement, there's nobody to look at that and congratulate him, appreciate him. And most of the time when he wants to share something that he has did, there's nobody to sit with him, enjoy his time or his work. So this has kind of left him uh, feeling quite invisible. And this is what is being reflected in the classroom. And I feel, as a teacher who is teaching children from age 8 to 10, 12, this is something that you will see in almost all the classrooms. There would be children who have similar patterns. And most of the time, I believe, again, it's something that it would be my opinion stemming from my experience, is something that also has to do with home atmosphere. So, on that note, I would like to talk about how providing proper emotional support at home, how giving them proper learning resources, and also a stable atmosphere is very conducive to studying. So, the first one that we touched upon, that we will touch upon, is socioeconomic status and the educational opportunities. So, there would be households where both the parents will have to work. It's not an option that they will have, that a parent will spend their entire time to cater to the child. So most households, we have both the parents working. So what happens is that the child, most of the time, after he comes back from school, he has no one to share his experiences with, his learnings with. And as in, with all the advent of digital, screen time has also comparatively increased. So coupled with screen time and no one to cater to the child's emotional needs, it's a very deadly combination. So that's the first one, the socioeconomic status and how it kind of affects the educational opportunities or the home environment experiences for the child. Coming to the second one is how um, the you know it's not about the financial status of the parent here. It is more about how equipped the parent is, how knowledgeable the parent is in understanding what type of learning support or learning resource a child needs. There has been cases where children are given an iPad thinking that it would help the child with more of the research or maybe learning new things. In the age of 8 to 10 or 12, um, as a as an educator, I really don't think it would that's an ideal age for them to make choices where they think, okay, I would dedicate 30 minutes for research, 30 minutes for doing a worksheet. Yes, I mean, we can equip them to make them responsible enough. However, I think it's a very fragile age to be providing them with unmonitored access of screen. And that's one. Second are other resources. Let's talk about a very young child. So we have a lot of toys. So in the age of 6 months to 3 years or 5 years, we have these toys that make sounds. We have toys these makes that makes that is very colorful, that's made of plastic. However, these toys have no positive influence on the child. At the same time, if we could replace these toys with homemade clay or homemade sand or um, wooden toys, which actually equals the weight of how it looks like, um, toys which helps them with their pinch grasp, um, toys would helps them with their motor skills of their hands. So these are something that would help them. These could be considered as learning resources at home. So the unawareness or the lack of awareness of parents in this area, again, it's not their fault. Not everyone is equipped to have these sort of information with them, but I would really urge parents to do their research on this, as in a particular at a particular given at a particular age, what is that suits them, what books suits them, what books suit them, and what toys suit them, so that the home environment, like I said, would be very conducive to their holistic learning experience. That's the second one. Third one, this is very interesting. It's the parental attitude and the emotional support. So, most of the time, I think we are all humans, it happens. Let's say we are very frustrated with something about the school, about the teacher, about the classroom, but something that's been done in a classroom. Um, there could be scenarios where we just blurt it out or we discuss it with with our partners, right in front of the child. Now, this scenario is equivalent to how a couple might have a disagreement, or they might have a fight in front of the child, where the child will end up not respecting or not um, being attached to either of them. The same way, if parents tend to have any emotional conflicts with the school, show it out in front of the child will stop listening or being receptive to anything good that is there in a school, that is there in his or her school, or anything good that the teacher says. The child will become not receptive to any classroom instructions, because the child has come to this understanding, okay, this is not good enough. I don't have to. My parents say that this is not good enough, so I don't have to listen to them. So this is also a very, very critical demotivating factor for a child that affects his learning experience. So I think any conversation that we have around challenges concerning to school or their class or class teacher or their subject teachers should always be uh, not in the hearing distance of the child. So um, again, the psychological or the social influences from home, like I mentioned, the emotional support from family. So I didn't mention about these toys that are wooden. Again, I love Montessori toys because they do enhance the learning requirements of a child. However, talking about emotional support or academic success, let's say a child has a routine at home, and in that routine, the child is expected to at least, be around his desk, be around his books, or be around something, let's say he's doing a project which is connected to academics, be around it for at least half an hour at home. So if there's a routine set, let's say right from he enters his house or his or her house, the child knows what to expect. The child is, uh, either given a bath or reminded to take a bath, and the child has something to eat. The child has some playtime. The child has spent some time with their parents, discussing about what has happened at the school, any concerns, anything that really excited them. And after that, the child has some time to himself to sort out what has been done in the school or any other project that the child is doing. It always needn't be about books as well. So this academic support or emotional support being fostered in a household, it really helps with a child's motivation and resilience, and also in them being consistent. So the same, so we do have classroom leaders or in charges. We do have a classroom decorum and a discipline policy that we follow. And most of the time, I have noticed that it is so easy to enforce this with children who have a similar routine at home, because they are used to being responsible right from a young age. They are used to keeping, if they take a book, they're used to keeping it back in the place where it is kept. So all of these small traits in a child does add up, and it is the both the work of the school and the household. They do have to work together on this. So that is something very, very important, I feel. And parents mental health and learning environment, again this one. So we've had incidences where there has been the sudden demise of a elder child or a younger child, and the parent going into a very um, sad state of affairs. It is understandable. It is a very unfortunate event. However, uh, in the long run, let's say if the parent is not able to collect themselves up and not able to cater to the other child that is left behind with them, it really becomes very, very difficult. Because so something that I have observed is there has been issues with disregard for the child's routine, disregard for the child's cleanliness. Because in the time of grieving, most of the times this child is left on his or her own. So that is also something I feel. So, and this is a very aggravated case, but there are also cases where general mental health issues would lead on to the child also being affected. So these are things which I feel. I think we as parents, I am a parent as well. So we as parents, whatever we are going through, in spite of everything that we are going through, we are to be taking care of the children that is in our responsibility, that is given to us. And these children at home or in school are our responsibility at the end of the day, whatever we are going through. So I think this is something we do have to ensure as well. Because especially during the foundational years of grade 2, 3, 4, when these children miss out on the basic concepts and the basic classroom discipline and manners or hygiene, it's very, very difficult as they grow up to retract all of that back. Coming down, yes, I think this is something that we have already covered. So a role of peer relationships in academic development, again, is a very, very significant thing as well. So impact of house experiences on classroom management is something I just discussed, about how the routine set at home helps them a lot. Coming to the peer relationship, there would be like, right now, most of us, at least some of us, do live in apartments, in flats, and we do have children in the compound, and our children will have friends. So we cannot really guard our child from the entire world. That's not going to happen. So these children will come across children who are much higher their age, older than them, or children who have different set of experiences at home, in school. They might have their home routine, or their discipline routine, or the way in which they learn or look at learning engagement might not be something that your child follows. It might not be something you would want your child to be inspired from as well. So in these cases, we can never really guard them from the entire world, like I said. In this case, again, I reinforce having good communication with your child at home every single day, at least before they go to bed, will ensure that we really know what's happening in their lives. And we will really know if that is impacting their presentation, how they show up in school. So, pure interaction, sibling interaction, pure interaction outside in bus, in their neighborhood, or even in school, all of these could be moderated, could be counseled, could be monitored by our frequent interaction with our children, ensuring that we are in sync with them all the time, because it really affects their motivation. That's very, very motivation and discipline. Because I have seen children in the class who happen to, gel with a child who has a slightly a disruptive routine at home, and the other child catching up onto it. So because they are very highly influential at this stage of development. So I think it is during COVID-19 that parents did realize how much the child is impacted from what is being done at home. Because I could see a lot of parents coming up to us and telling us that, this has been a learning curve, that, we were forced to spend a lot of time with our children. Yes, forced to spend a lot of time with our children. And we did understand, things that we were doing wrong, things that we should be doing more, and how these things how all these contributions have been affecting them in the school as well. So COVID-19 has been an eye opener, and I think all the stakeholders, the parents, the teachers, and the children, we've all come into a better understanding of how the three of us, contribute to each other in the learning, in the holistic learning experience post COVID. That this is also something I personally felt. And also, COVID-19 has also seen a a huge spike in screen time. Again, this is something I would like to address as part of home environment leading to learning experiences in the classroom. So so most of the time I've seen teachers enforce a 30 minute screen time at home. However, yes, screen time is very important. The duration given is very important. At the same time, what they watch in this 30 minutes or 1 hour. See, it's okay if the screen time given is a slightly higher than 30 minutes. But then what they watch in that 30 minutes or something a little above that is very, very important. Let's say a child is out there watching National Geography or the Safari Channel or something that is not very overly stimulating, that kind of adds to their, knowledge or something that interests them. At the same time, we do have YouTube and platforms such as these churning out so much of very concerning contents. In fact, there are these cartoons such as Huggy Wuggy, Skibbity. Now, Skibbity has, billion. I'm not talking about million. I'm talking about billion. So there are Skibbity videos which has got 2 billion, 3 billion, 5 billion, 6 billion views, which is kind of a very, very stark data that children are unmonitoredly watching all of this the whole time. So it's very important, and it has become so popular that skibbity has kind of become a colloquial term in our dictionary, right? As in, we hear children using this word. And riz, skibbity, all these come from these animation cartoons. And how we really watch them, I doubt. They are very, very concerning. In fact, even this cartoon Huggy Wuggy, the name seems very cute, right? But even as adults, if we sit to watch it for half an hour, I think our capability to stay focused, to receive anything else, uh, it kind of gets so much tampered with. So I am just wondering, children who watch this for, let's say, hours and hours, and for the past few years. So this is something that I feel parents will have to look into at the end of the day. And it's so important that we know what the children are watching. So, as a parent myself, we do have a TV in the household, and which is something which I can see right even when I'm standing in the kitchen. So I know what my child is watching. So I think children as young as 8 years or 9 years, I really, it's again, it's my personal opinion, but I really don't think they do need a private screen to do anything for that matter. So that is also something that has drastically affected the learning the attention and the focus in the classrooms, because we have children, even if we show them a video, um, they want more of it. Either they want more of it, or let's say we have a lesson which has a bit of a very nice kinesthetic activity. It doesn't stimulate them, it doesn't excite them, because their source of excitement or stimulation has started to become this. So as teachers, it has become so difficult to keep the focus or the attention, get the attention of the children, because of this one reason as well. And reducing the screen time of the children in my classroom, and having a session with the parents, educating them on in monitoring what they're watching, in having a discussion, like being in sync with the children, and also being aware of what their children are watching, monitoring them, talking to them. We really can't just take away the screen from them and say you cannot watch this, because right now children are very, very aware. They're very well aware of even their rights, and what they're supposed, like, their rights basically. So they will question us. So it's very important we have conversations with our children. It's very, very important. We talk to them about it. Um, we educate them about it. And I really, really believe that they will understand, because they're very, very smart children in this age. And I feel having conversations around this also will greatly impact the learning space that we have in classrooms.
Miss Malavika.
Yes.
Yeah, because of the time constraint, we won't be able to do the Q&A. If you want to finish, then we can take the questions, ma'am.
All right. So I think we are almost over with the presentation. This was the last slide.
Sure.
So yes, so this is again, I think what I talked in the previous slide was also this. These are the things that we need to include in our household to make sure that the students come ready to the classrooms and are there and present with us in the school.
Sure. So can you stop sharing your screen?
Yes.
So, Miss Malavika, like you spoke about the home environment and discussed about the parents' communication, digital, the TV, everything. So, teachers play an important role in students' lives after the parents. Like, of course, the parents are the first responsible persons. Like, school can't teach everything, it's the home the child learns a lot. So, what are some effective ways parents can communicate with teachers to support their child's learning?
So one thing I feel is a face-to-face conversation with the teacher in the beginning of the year is something which should be done for every child, because only then we would understand where the child comes from, what's their home environment, what are the child's capabilities, and how we can further support the child in their learning for that one particular year. Because every year, so I'm a homeroom teacher, so every year I have a new set of students. So it's very important that I meet the parents face to face. I have a talk with them, and wherein I will also, once I have this understanding, when it comes to, let's say, the next parent teacher meeting is when I will be ready as a teacher to give them more support as into how to support the child in their learning experience, because by then I would have taken their feedback from the first meeting, and then I would have observed the child for a few months, maybe 1 or 2 months, and then I will be in a position to give them a plan or a few suggestions or few tweaks that are to be done at home in terms of how the child has to go about. So that's, I feel that's a very foolproof way that has really helped me over the past few years.
Okay. So, coming to the physical layout of the home, like you have given the examples of example of living in the apartments and all. So, a teacher sent me this question: how does the physical layout of the home affect students' study habits and productivity? Can you elaborate on that? You already spoke about the apartments and everything. Yes.
Yeah. So that's a very, 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 very insightful question, because right now I'm in an apartment, and I see, so I have my child right now in this household, which is a very small space. Any apartment, we'll have a living room, we'll have two bedrooms or three, and a kitchen. That's it. So the child really, the child does not have the space to run around or play or interact. That is one aspect. So when I look out from my balcony, I do see children who are living in houses like villas, and they are out there playing all those old games that we used to play as children. So I kind of feel bad for my child in this aspect as well. That's one. When they don't have a let out to expend their energy.
Mhm.
So that is something which I feel, and I feel uh, running around, playing with the other children, being physically active is something which really regulates their system. It's something which makes them ready for the next activity, you know. So that is something that is lacking with a lot of children right now, and it is not something which really we can really go about, like work around. I think how parents kind of work around this is they put them in other activities like for football or basketball or gymnastics, which I feel is a good alternative. Another thing is having a structure, having a designated area for the child. Like how we have the dining area or the bedroom. I think the child should have a work area. The child should have a study area. I wouldn't say study as such, because I would also call it work, because it's not just always studying, isn't it? I mean, he can play there as well. He or she can play there as well. So, but then all his resources, his stationery, his books, games, and everything, puzzles, and whatever it is, it could be in one space, and could be a very beautiful space that's set up of him. And until the child is, let's say, just a moment. So until the child is, let's say, 12 or beyond that, I think this would really work for the child. And I do talk for children in the bracket of, let's say, 5 to 12, because I have more experience teaching children in that age bracket.
So, coming to the relationship, can you explore the relationship between family size and birth order on students' academic achievement?
Birth order.
Yeah. So the age gap between the children or anything like that? Does it affect, or the mother, can she or the father, can they give attention when there is less gap or an appropriate age gap? Like how will the parent attend the child?
So when it comes to grade 4, 5, 6, I don't see a very huge impact of that in the children. I feel the impact of age gap majorly happens in the more primary years. So I'm not in that particular classroom, but I
Mm.
do hear about a particular child who's in pre-K, or I think KG1. But then this child wants to be his younger brother,
Mhm.
you know and it's been 2 years in the school, but the child still is very upset. He does not want to learn because he fears that if he learns, he'll become older and he'll get less
Mhm.
attention. He wants to be the younger brother. So this happens with the smaller age group primarily, I feel. In my classroom, I feel they again, So since you asked about age gap, I feel in my few years of experience, rather than the age gap, um, because even in age gaps there have been certain cases, but I feel they're very singled out cases. There has been one where the elder one has been given more attention because he is academically more well off, so the younger one kind of feels very kind of disregarded in that way. But I feel those were just one or two singled out events which I felt could have been sorted out with parent counseling and such. However, I have in my years of teaching, and this would be very in this particular age, you should think that this is 21st century. I have really seen gender bias within families even now. So I've had families, I have had students who have a brother, younger one, or elder one, and I have had experiences while where this girl child in my class was not given as much of importance. So I feel this is something I have come across rather than that, because maybe because I'm teaching in the age group of 4 to
Right.
grade 4 to.
I got a very interesting question. It's from one of the previous speaker. In your view, what are some innovative ways schools can engage parents in supporting student learning at home?
So, like I mentioned before, most of the parents, see, they might not be from the educational industry, and therefore they might really not be aware of a lot of things that we're speaking about, right? Because we will just take it for granted that, see, we have all these experiences and it comes easy to us. So we will take it for granted that, the parents should be doing this or they should be watching the child's screen time, etc., etc. But most of the time, it's the unawareness that leads to all this. So I really feel an induction session, uh, every term, or at least in the beginning of the year with the parents is so important. And this is not from the class teacher side. This should actually happen from the school side. Talking about age appropriate books, age appropriate videos, and how the things are in the current age. So inductions for parents from the management, school management would be, I think, a great idea to bridge the gap between the parent and the school that we have. That's one. Second, uh, from the class teacher side, I feel we can really give them updates. If not daily updates, we can give them weekly update as into this is being taught and this is how you can help us at home. Really detailing on what is expected out of the parents, because I think it should be done, because I don't think most all parents will have this awareness of what to do. Because right now, I think even all the curriculum have shifted to more activity based. And most of the time, since we don't have concrete things coming out in the notebooks, parents are also not really aware what's happening inside classrooms. So I really feel weekly updates on what is being done in class, what is expected to be done at home, and also induction from the school's management side will be something. These two things might bridge that learning support gap that we have.
So, last question, ma'am. Because of the time constraint, I will ask this question and we'll end the session. So, how can parents foster a growth mindset in their children, and what impact does this have on academic achievement?
This is a very tricky question because this is something I am struggling with as well
Mhm.
as a parent. Because I seldom notice my child to come up with negative self-talk. You know, um, I'm unlucky. I am not capable to do this. So this is something I hear a lot at my home as well, and I'm actually navigating this myself. Something that I have figured out is rather than blocking these questions or these, because children are still trying to understand how to manage their emotions. Their initial outbursts would be this, let's say they face a defeat, it would be like, I hate this, I don't want to do this again.
Children,
So
children use unlucky, I hate, like the very strong words at a very young age.
yeah,
We hear most of the time, and it's for them. I think it's a very simple word, but I
yeah,
don't think like we grew up use as a child using those strong words. We feel those are very strong words. Yeah.
yes.
So.
So I think mostly it stems from they do have the space to express,
Mhm.
unlike how we had. Because I remember in my household, if I had strongly said, like, I hate this, or like, something like that, I would have, been thrashed by my mom, I think, because
Maybe we were not the voice out generation. Like this generation is very vocal. One way it's good, and
yes,
I think for parents it's little difficult, a tricky situation to handle. Yeah.
it is. It's very difficult because and so what I kind of what I'm figuring out is, when why they're saying this is, one, they do have the space to say this, they do have that space, they know that they're safe to say it. Second, they don't know what else to say. The kind of the depth of the emotion that they're feeling is so strong, they don't know another way to express this. We used to suppress it. So now let's take that as a starting point. So rather than telling them, don't say this word, I think having conversations with them as into why they said it, let's start with that. And then giving them alternatives, as in giving them a vocabulary list. I gave my son a list of alternative words that he can use, which kind of helped him in some sense, because he were able to name the other emotions that he was feeling as well. That is one thing that I did. Secondly, I also showed him child appropriate news around the world. Okay, this is something I did as a parent. I'm not speaking as a teacher here in this matter, but I mean, every child is unique. So I felt my child was so detached from the entire world, from what's happening around the world, that for him, he was looking at just the immediate people around him. And if, let's say, a child who has um, 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 maybe Alexa and an Apple, the big screen TV, and a lot of materialistic things, and he was feeling that he was unlucky, because he didn't have those set of things. So I went around showing him a few glimpses of the world around, and how our living standard is much better than, we have a very good living standard, and how we can better this in looking at what is required for a household, not in what another person is having. So these were a few things that I kind of did, but otherwise it's really really tricky, because it depends on each child.
So
So
thank you for the lovely talk and for patiently answering all the questions, Miss Malavika. I thoroughly enjoyed as an audience and a parent. And we also thank the speakers who have sent some interesting questions. And before I end the session, would you like to share anything else?
nothing much. I actually had gone to the YouTube channel of your organization, and it's really beautiful to see conversations around a lot of important topics.
Thank
So
you.
thanks for that.
Thank you for sharing your knowledge on our platform, ma'am. Have a
Thank you.
great weekend.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
End the session now.